All right. So, I'm so impressed with this machine and how they can sell this at this price that I went ahead and I ordered another one. So, let me see if I can um, get this thing dialed in. Now, I'm going to wait a little bit while, and after my other order goes through, I'm going to order a replacement on this one because the frame is slightly cocked to the side, and to see if we can just get a better one. Um, I know that they only have like 5 or 6 of these left, and you probably will never see these on Amazon again, just because coil machines aren't really that popular anymore, and they've probably been trying to get rid of these for a while. I don't know what the hell this is made out of. The website says hand rubbed with copper. The frame shows casting here, but back in here it looks welded. Looks cast right here. It's when I picked this up out of the mailbox, I thought, wow, this is odd. Maybe they gave me 2 of these. So I think this is the same as this frame here, shape-wise. Also, I noticed on mine, this is crooked, and there's some little, like, imperfections in the shape. Like maybe they hand grind them and they're all going to be a little bit different. But looks like the same mold for the most part. This machine here is not nearly as heavy as this. This is actually pretty light. This is actually, believe it or not, these are the same coils. They're from that company that this came from. The company is, it says ZJ Chow, and I have ordered 2 of these coils. I have them in this one, and then I have this Spalding Puma copy. I pulled the coils and put them in there. They did have to put tape on them because the plastic cracked on one of them, the clear plastic. I really like to look at the coils. So, this frame here is just a lot more beefy. I like the contact post better as opposed to this kind of stuff, but it says pure copper contacts. I don't think this is copper. I think it's, you know, some kind of plating, but I don't know. Maybe. It's not magnetic. So the type of metal, I don't know what it is. I really don't. You can kind of see here where it's been worn just from screwing around. I think it's probably bronze or something. The ad is really poorly translated Chinese. See, this is brass right here, as far as I know. So I think this is bronze. And I think they rubbed it with copper, like they said in the ad. Give it kind of that sort of coppery sheen. But the more you handle this, the more you'll see the kind of brass look to it. But I don't really need another one, as you can see. Well, maybe the camera's not pointing that way, but I really don't need another one. Yeah, so I'm looking at this one, and the magnet is like totally sticking to that. So I don't know how serious it is with all these, you know, like, I mean, the one spot where your frame conducts is, you know, just right here. And if you have a poor connection, you know, it sucks. Usually, if it goes through here, it'll touch the back of the spring, and it's going to conduct from there to there. And I have seen them where they had like oil on here, and this didn't conduct, and it was intermittent. But anyway, I forget what this shape is called. I guess it's like a Spalding Rogers Supreme or something. Oh, this coil is loose. Anyway, there's lots of... Why is this thing loose? That's interesting. I don't know if it's the bobbin is moving, because no, it's this. It's loose. It just didn't want to tighten. Okay. So yeah, I don't need any more of these. Really, I don't. You get this shape, and then there's other ones that are similar to it. But yeah, I don't know. This one seems to be okay for now. What I need is I need a bunch of springs and armature bars. I need to go get the drill press out, and I need to drill some holes in some of these cheaper ones, and make some speed bars and stuff. But yeah, the last thing I really need to be doing is ordering more machines. I bet these, like, I need to get these dialed in. None of them are running the way I want. So it's all down to the springs and the armature bars. I've changed the coils, I've changed the capacitors. I've got them running pretty fast. I just want like several really good liners. I don't give a shit about shaders. I'll shade with my rotaries. So my coil machines are for lining. That's what I want them for. And you know, I have a couple that are okay. But so this thing just really boggles my mind. Copper pure coils, some type of bronze or brass frame, full size, nice yoke on the bottom, and you know, just some really good healthy weight to it. I guess a lot of people probably wouldn't like this thing. They'd say it was too heavy. I don't know. So this piece here is bent. They really reefed it down in there and damaged it, kind of. Boy, I mean, it's bent. I think maybe if I put a washer on it, maybe. I'm just afraid the washer is going to eat into it more. I'm surprised they put this on here, though. Yeah, I see what it is. It doesn't... it bent because of the angle this thing's touching. So what I need to do is get a file and file this. I'm going to look for... I should have a chainsaw file somewhere in here. Well, there's one. It's too big. Okay. I'm going to try to think if I have any other files laying around. I know I have a set of files I use for when I do fret work on my guitars. I just don't know where they're at. Let's see here. This needs to be just a really small chainsaw file. Just can't. get the one in there that I have. Problem is, most of my chainsaws are pretty large. They don't really have small files. You got a flat file, but it ain't gonna fit in there. Okay. So, got my chainsaw file. I'm gonna have to zoom this thing out. You guys aren't gonna be able to see anything I'm doing. Alright. So this here is, I don't know if it was just like manufactured wrong, but it doesn't go far enough for the alignment. So it's aluminum. Aluminum is actually kind of a pain because it usually plugs up the cutting teeth on everything. Okay. I don't want to take too much off of it. So there's an angle on here, and that's caused it to bend because it was, you know, it couldn't move anymore. Okay, so I might be going in the wrong direction. Okay, that should be better. We're not going to worry about trying to bend it back. I am going to put a washer on it, just because. Now, the ad for this says it's a liner, but sure don't run like one. There's quite a bit of tension on this thing. I feel like maybe the rear coil might be a little too low, or the front's a little too high. A little bit more than a business card gap. Okay. So let's get our clip cord. We're at 5.5 volts. Ooh, wee. I just noticed the wire on the capacitor. See that? The spaghetti loom is completely split. And that's the one going up to here. So we'll have to address that issue later. It shouldn't touch anything where it's sitting. But yeah, it's exposed. Get the flash off. Alright. So, let's see what we got. I'm going to change the 47 on here anyway, probably. What I'm going to do, I'm going to run the contact all the way down. Kind of a soft front spring. Okay. So it doesn't want to run about more than 100 something. 103. You hear it slow down there. It hits pretty good, but my duty is too high, which means there's too much tension on this. Now the duty will go down. It hits really hard at 5 volts. So we could try to go nuts and angle this back even further, but I don't think it's going to go much faster. $145 at 55% duty. Sounds like good numbers, but there's no stroke to it. It's got no stroke. $134. Alright. One of the problems with these saddles is you can't bend your springs with the saddle on there. I need to take some tension out of it. So you can't just flip it around, you know what I mean? Okay. I'm going to put it right about here. This is weird they say this is a liner when they had such a long front spring. Okay, that looks good. Pretty big gap right there. Fairly low voltage. The it's kind of just ghosting. So we put it at 6. That's a huge gap. Oh, this thing's not tightened down too. So let me see. Put my gap about where I want it. Still slow. 105, and the duty is about 57. It's hitting pretty good. We're under 100. It runs really good right here, though. Bring it all the way out. All the way in. It wants to be at about 100 at 55% duty. And it's hitting hard at 6 volts. My armature bar is crooked. Still crooked. I don't know if maybe the coils are on here crooked. Maybe it's like this thing's kicked over a little too much. It's actually slowing down. Okay. $113 for a second there. Ooh, hitting hard. See if I have enough of a stroke. I don't really look like I do. Well, let's load this up with something. Let's see. We have here a 7-round liner on this. Let's go ahead and pull this whole damn thing off of this one. This thing's starting to bow out and bend. That's why I don't recommend these aluminum wormholes. And this one here, they didn't quite do it right. So it's almost touching. It needs the hole was drilled too big, which I guess, you know, usually they're the other way around. This thing feels nice, except for right here is digging into my hand, but that can be fixed. It's got a really comfortable weight to it. So if I change the capacitor, I might get a little closer to what I want. I think my grip is moving. Yep. So I'm having trouble with the grip. This is why I think this one was done wrong. Man, I'm gonna really reef that thing down. So with this one, I'm gonna order a replacement just because of a few little tweaks on the frame. And then if the new one ain't any better, and maybe I'll just keep them both. So we have this ink here. I just opened it up and it's like really, really watery. And I don't use this for anything but to practice, but like I could tell, like I used it on the practice skin and it showed up gray instead of black. So I put it in the microwave, kind of heated it up for a second. Even shows up kind of light on these oranges, but I don't know if you guys have run into that, but I've got a few bottles from a few different kits, so I haven't had that problem until now. What are we running at? We're running 95 at 53% duty. Get a nice bog. Just wrote my name on here real fast, you know. It seems to work good. Here's a little eyeball. Anyway, you guys can kind of hear it's got like a, you know, different kind of sound to it. It's certainly not for any kind of people that are like, oh no, this is so heavy. It does have some weight to it, let me tell you. It might actually be the heaviest one I've got. These are pretty heavy, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, you know, it is kind of rubbing my hand the wrong way right here. You know, like a lot of these machines are smoothed on the corners, so like in my homemade machines, I make sure I do that. You know, you sit there. I gotta finish this thing too. It's all fucking jacked up. The angle of the deck. Basically, what it boils down to is I need something underneath the bottom of here. Maybe even a yoke, a thin yoke. But it was a second machine I made. This is the first one with some junk coils in it, and I just made this kind of more based on how I wanted it to look, and got a little carried away, and I made this too tall. And what I really need to do is chop it here, re-round it, and drill another hole. But 118 at 38% duty. So they got like a pretty large stroke on it. It hits softly. Look at that. 130 at 56. That's where it got bumped. Yeah. That'll do some lining. In fact, I'm going to run that really fast. Just to kind of baseline this thing. God. I don't know if I'm going to bend this. I'm trying to open it. It definitely needs to get filed in between there. They screwed this thing up. But for the price, it's a hell of a deal. I don't know if I like it or not, though. Let's just do this. So this is the very first machine I've ever welded up, and I actually cut pieces of metal off of a plate, and that was how I did it. And pretty thick stuff. I think I got some laying around. So I tried to get a saw to cut this, and so what I ended up doing is just I cut it with an angle grinder in a couple of minutes. But I had bought one of those, you know, big Milwaukee, you know, cut off wheels, and I put it on a table saw, or not a table saw, a miter saw. It did not work. So this has currently got aluminum fake coils in it. They're aluminum copper clad off of a $6 machine, because that was all I have laying around when I bought the machine to get the parts. You can see it's a really cheap parts. This thing is sliding. I need to make a vise for it. Screwdriver works for now. Not much stroke on this. Which means basically, whether you like it or not, you have to ride the tube. Let's see here. It's also spraying a little bit. It's a much nicer line, I think, but I really hate it when I have to ride the tube. It makes it impossible to see. You just have to kind of know. Yeah. It line's really small for a 7. I wonder if I like how it runs really fast. I'm sure I make all kinds of weird faces while I'm doing this. So I was able to see the same line and hit it twice, but you know, like, this is why it's like, man, these things, for years, like, I've just struggled with coil machines, and then I get some rotaries, and I'm like, I can really see the end of the needle on this damn thing. Yeah, that's pretty good. Let's see, what is it running at? It's not that fast. 117, 118. Anyway, guys, just gonna keep playing around with coils and stuff. And the thing I like about coils is, like, they might not be perfect, but you can always fix them. You know, if this thing burns out, and I can take it apart and try and mount another motor in it, you know, but it's not for sure. That's why on this one, I actually ordered the other one. So I just try to have, like, you know, 2 of everything and always be prepared, you know. But anyway, thanks for bearing with me and watching another long video about nothing.